Hello, my dear fellows. I just finished to record a video in Italian of concerning the same topic I faced you in the other English video. I'm always talking about the confrontation and the comparison between religion and various belief systems. I did put a trial in first place Christianity versus communism in a way, on a more logical point of view. So it was not something to I didn't actually I was not actually facing this topic and talking about the moral point of views, but more of the logical aspects, trying to analyze it in a logical way, as you noticed. And during the recording of a video version in Italian, I developed more and more aspects. I was really talking freely about different kind of arguments, topics, facing different aspects. And I come up with new ideas I want to translate right now and transpose in English. And it was I was quite inspired and developed this in a flexible way. Right now I want actually to translate this and do it in English as well, as I feel this evening here right now when I'm recording the video. It is evening. I feel more than inspired. So I was developing these talking points about how the communism is also a cult in a way, and generally communism is considered to be a materialistic belief system versus a spiritual belief system like Christianity and other religions like Buddhism or Taoism, Islam, or other religions basically are considered more like based on spiritual pillars. So, but this is not really far from true in a way, because if we are really analyzing also communism or socialism and other political belief system, or now I'm changing the word in this term, communists have also some spiritual aspects. So I'm a little bit changing the version of a previous video of the concept. I mean, because concepts, if we really when we are dealing with concept, we forget that concepts, especially abstract concepts, are in a way spiritual or metaphysical. So communism also, despite the materialistic aspects, since it's based also on moral values, because it has its set of moral values of work ethic and the distribution of all the goods, like the distribution of fish and bread compared to the New Testament. So there's some parallels there between Christianity and communism. So this is there are more moral aspects than practical and really tangible ones, because on a practical I mean, if you really break it down in a practical way, distribution of wealth is not really always so practical. I mean, there's no really proofs there. I won't say that right now one system is bad or good or whatever, but it's proven. But it doesn't always really work that way, that you just distribute goods. If you're not creating wealth, if you're not right now, the modern world, not creating innovation, technology, I don't want to really to get into this consumeristic totally point of view, but to be honest, we've been like right now profiting and really benefiting from all this technological development. So right now, if you think about it, our activities are the burden of many activities have been relieved by technology. Many heavy duties and really hard activities we had to endure and where we had to use the physical strength are right now performed by machines, by robots and different kind of machineries. I'm not going to get into details there, but I expect that basically you have some kind of basic knowledge about it. We have cranes in constructions, and we can right now also drill holes in the mountains, constructing tunnels. This is something that was quite hard and if even impossible in past times, and right now in present times we are building tunnels through mountains along miles and miles. This is just one aspect to say, and many activities. I mean, if you think about it, the agriculture and the farming in the US is run by less than 30% of the population, and before, for a period where we had even slaves in the US, and right now the physical labor has been reduced. I don't mean that it's all good, because maybe having a farm and some aspects of a rural life is not so bad, and you're like growing your own food and stuff and having your vegetables, and some aspects of life are actually healthier. So I won't generally say that everything is really has been improving 100%. There are some backlashes, and as I'm always repeating, that every situation have like is we can compare it to a two-sided coin. So there's also the dark side, so-called dark side of the moon in everything, if we want to paraphrase the song of the Pink Floyds. So what I like to actually to say that getting back to a political belief system like communism or socialism or similar systems, I'm a little bit oversimplifying always in order to render the idea really more comprehensible. So I'm a little bit breaking down these concepts. Communism has its metaphysical aspects, because it has its cult of this kind of a state, the government, the system regulating everything, and it's kind of a clockwork where every particle and part of this clockwork work perfectly according to this religion, because it's like the system is replacing in a way God. This is something I didn't mention in the Italian video. If you think about it, like the Deus ex machina they're used in the Greek-Roman theater. It was kind of the Deus ex machina, for whom is not familiar with this term, this definition, was a kind of real God. I mean, a fake. Of course, it was a kind of a doll they introduced to the scene when during the plot, practically during when we were developing the drama in this Greek-Roman Greek theaters. Sometimes the plot became so complicated and intricate because at the time they didn't have a specific script. They were quite improvising, so sometimes during the ongoing drama on the scene, on the stage. It was quite hard to find a solution for this drama, and we were trying to find out some kind of happy ending. And in this case, we were short like of ideas on how to get out of it and find the solution. We were introducing to the scene this kind of how can we say puppet rather than a doll. I'm sorry for I was meaning more a puppet than a doll, and it was some kind of a god solving every problem. So the narrator, because we had generally at the time a narrator in the backstage describing sometimes and what was going on really, and he was telling, okay, now the god, the Deus ex machina, means the god actually come out from the machine, popping out from the machine, is solving everything, and that was some kind of magical, like a magical spell, saying that the whole plot was solved and we had a happy ending and a rainbow and unicorns and well, that's it. Well, in a way, this is a comparison I'd like to make with a communist or other system, political systems, where we say the psychological aspect, but the mind is searching for an easy solution in a way. I'm not really condemning one political party or whatever. I'm not really interested in this during this video. This is just to say how we as human beings have a tendency to believe in something which is solving. In a way, it's positive. You know, we all have this need to believe in some kind of God solving all the problems. But difference between our religions, maybe this God might be more metaphysical, and instead some kind of political organization and belief systems. Instead, it's a system. It's the Deus ex machina is more. It's incarnated in a government, for example, in this case, in the state, in the set of rules, of regulations, police, in a police state, in law enforcement. Law enforcement is controlling and enabling that this system might work. And we had, like, if you remember, the secret police we still have secret police. I mean, it's this is not really over, but I mean, there really was relying on the KGB, and this is not only. I'm not really blaming everything upon the Soviet and the Russian government of the Soviet Union at the time, but it's just some examples I want here to bring up. The point is that they had really a strong faith in government, in the state, in the rules, in the regulation, and in the distribution of wealth, and this whole belief system was actually expected to, in a way, to solve all the problems. The system, this clockwork should work perfectly and forever create and generate a perfect life, heaven on earth. They didn't reach that, and maybe also because, I mean, the utopia, whatever utopia we are creating, will always be deceptive, because something I'm always trying to remember and to stay and to confirm is that we are not flawless. The human being is not perfect. So in this political belief system, and there are always kind of forgetting and overlooking that we are not perfect, and for this reason, whatever system we are creating, we might call it with another name, not communism, whatever. We can call it the association of a green elephants or red lions, create different kind of symbols, but having still a similar belief system, moral values, set of rules and values, as I told before. But still, we wouldn't reach the even if we pursue the dream of perfection and paradise on earth, as I was telling. So, of course, it's deceptive, and that's not to blame entirely on the system, but on the expectations. So the utopian system is always failing if you think about it. Whatever utopian society we create, expecting that an external force will solve all the problems, like the Deus ex machina. So it's always, we are, as I'm repeating, we can find here the parallels. This is a religion also, if we really analyze every aspect of it, because there's a belief that these concepts, this set of rules, regulation, will solve the problems from outside. And it's even maybe here I make some judgments here. I will be a little bit judgmental and express my opinion regarding these belief systems, that it's even more deceptive here, because what is really wrong, and it's not really the distribution or wealth or other aspects of a communism or socialism. It's not only that, but it's every time. That's my opinion. Like every time when we are expecting that an external force, a system, will forever fix everything from the outside, and that rules without a self, as I told before, a self-restricting, self-containing moral internal values, where people are self-disciplining, self-regulating, it won't never work. And I think that there's some logic there. This is not only my opinion, but it's quite clear that it's impossible to control from an external, but an external force will be able to control the human life in every aspect. In psychology, we might call it the syndrome of free control, to control the outside world with rules, with regulations, and that will be someone who need to police you and check that you are doing what you have to do. And this is really, if you think really on a pragmatical level, this is really impossible. I'd like that someone here could oppose this concept. I think no one can rebut this, because it's really maybe right now with internet and the GPS we are reaching some point of a higher level of control. But anyway, even so, if we are actually excluding the psychological aspect of each individual, the self-disciplining and regulating mindset, the internal struggles of each individual to reach and to mature and to get to that level that you need external control, then we don't need this big government. We might even not call it for communism. I think it's also an obsolete term now, because we have right now also in the states and other nations really developed, like we call it for deep state and whatever. But it's, if you think about it, like you break down the concept in deep state, big government is just, it's just an expression of a free control mind on a collective scale. So it's kind of not leaving the people to develop on an individual level and to have a freedom of develop their own life. And then of course you need a dictatorship. So thinking about it, really, when I'm thinking about it, tyranny goes hand in hand with anarchy. Anarchy leads to tyranny, and tyranny leads to anarchy. Cause it's like the two sides of the same coin in the end. Cause when you have anarchy, tyranny is required, and when you have tyranny, of course the population is getting rebellious, and we are of course revolting against it, rioting for good reasons also. And the real solution is to, of course, to educate the population to make their own life and to be less dependent on a system. And that's exactly the contrary of a collective community philosophy. But I won't blame, because we need also collectivism. I won't say that, because we need cooperation. People have to work with each other. I'm just saying that concerning the self-containing, self-controlling, self-disciplining aspects, those are really important, because we, on a really practical level, wasting resources in controlling the population because they are not able to do it themselves. That's a huge waste of resources and energy, which is not beneficial to a society. So getting back into to the concept of belief system, we can now say that in effect there are metaphysical aspects, moral aspects, but with subconscious moral aspects also in so-called materialistic belief systems, because a belief is something abstract. It's not a concrete, tangible, something we can find in nature. Every concept, every moral value are abstract concept, of course, which give, of course, also tangible and material results. We're transforming themselves afterwards, of course, in something external, something when we can touch our hands and we can smell and everything. But at the beginning, it's always a concept, is just a thought. It's something we can't perceive on a physical level. It's just in our mind, in our soul. Well, they don't believe in soul, maybe, in the communist system, but I just use the word in this case. Self-disciplining, I'm here to say again, but self-disciplining is of vital importance. So I think I can really confirm and be sure about this concept, that there's this cult, but also more materialistic philosophies are still cults. This is just an objective statement. It's not there's no moral judgment here, and I don't want to, not in the pejorative way. It's not something really totally negative to say it is. It's kind of as many beliefs. The metaphysical aspect is something that we find it in every belief system, and this is undeniable because every concept, like the concept in itself, if you think about it, is metaphysical. It's not physical. Metaphysical means that, of course, a concept, when we put it in practice, it will transform itself in something then tangible and something material. But it's of course it's a process. It's kind of a result. It's an end game of a process of thought and philosophical way of acting and behaving. Now I'd like to get back instead to the global warming issue, the climate blackmail, as I mentioned in the other video. Some news popped up during the video I recorded in Italian, and concerning this cult, which is also quite metaphysical, because there are many moral values there that we are worshipping our planet Earth, and we have this belief that the world will end. There's this doomsday predictions reflected also in many religions, where the human being has this tendency to I don't know why exactly, love to figure out how the world is ending, how our civilization is ending, and so on. So it is repeating itself on, and it's kind of people never learn. They just love to think that in 10-12 years the world will end, and we are having this Greta Thunberg, the Swedish girl, a really lovely girl, nothing against her, but she's now the incarnation of Al Gore in a feminine aspect. She's really young, and that's why I think also she's been chosen, because she looked like innocent and not responsible for the actual state of environment. Al Gore instead, he's more behind the curtains right now, because his time is a little bit up, also because his lifestyle has deemed not to be so environmental, and many have been pointing out that he's also accusing him of not being a real environmentalist in many ways, and he's not so young anymore, so he's perceived as part of a problem. And that's why now we are choosing a fresh testimonial, a fresh ambassador, we could say, for this global warming scam blackmail. And this Greta Thunberg, she's really playing this role egregiously, because she's not seen as a part of a problem, because she's young, not guilty. She's too young to be guilty, and that's the reason why I think she's been chosen for this project, and to go ahead and follow the footsteps of Al Gore and bring more money to the cause many religious aspects and so-called where we have metaphysical values, then we have physical consequences, and that occurs in every religion, and maybe in belief system. These moral values have a more materialistic outcome in the end, and here we have it, as I mentioned again and again, about the billions of euros and dollars pouring into the funds of various organizations, environmental and scientific. You just have to set up